Welcome to the Tied Together podcast, where we feature everyday people doing extraordinary things. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share so others can join in on the conversation too. Today's guest noticed a pattern of obesity in her family at a young age and decided to make health and wellness a goal in her own life. After spending 20 years in the medical field helping people to become their best selves, she decided to launch her own nonprofit to further her efforts. Glamour Girl Fitness promotes family fun and fitness through one-on-one and group sessions, virtual coaching, and in-person training. A mom, wife, CEO, lifestyle and weight management specialist, and Mrs. Georgia Earth 2019, please welcome Jackie Madison.
Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are.
Yeah. Hello,
Hello,
Jackie.
everyone. Yes, so
Thank
happy
you.
to be here this morning as your guest.
Yes, I'm excited to have you on. Thank you for being on. So I know you do Glamour Girl Fitness. Can you just explain for me and those people watching a little bit more about it?
Well, Glamour Girl Fitness, I have a for-profit business as well as a nonprofit. But what I'm mostly proud of is when I started Glamour Girl Fitness, the business, it was to be able to motivate and inspire women to make healthy changes in their life. I am a certified lifestyle and weight management specialist. So my goal is to help women if their goal is to lose weight, which for most women, we're always on some type of diet plan, right? That's just a way of life for us. But is to be able to let us know that based on our lifestyle that you can do that. And as a lifestyle and weight management specialist, that was my goal, to be able to help women stay on a healthy path and know that, you're not out there alone. So I have, again, the for-profit business that actually turned into, I noticed me giving away my services, and not mostly, I wasn't really concerned about the money aspect of it. I guess I just was, I just had that helping spirit, and I found myself helping my girlfriends and just everyone. And I said, you know what? Your payment to me is to know that you've made a change or that I've motivated you to make a change to be able to live a healthy life. And that's when I realized, you know what? We're going to do this as a nonprofit. So Glamour Girl Fitness is now functioning as a nonprofit organization to be able to give back to the community, to be able to inspire moms, families, their children to actually work out and not make excuses. And that's what our message is, and that's what we've been doing in the community for our nonprofit organization.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Why is it so important to you to give this service to families in particular?
Well, and I'm going to speak because as an African-American female or woman, I do know that there's a disparity. And of course, there's the obesity rate is higher among our people.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I'm speaking to a beautiful Black woman. And so this was a message that I know growing up as children, these behaviors weren't really modeled for us. And I can speak for myself because it wasn't modeled in my family. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I said is I wanted to model the change that I wanted to see. So modeling a behavior and promoting a change that I wanted to be able to see happen in my family, and not just in my family, but in my community. Because of course, as we know, when I say family, I'm talking about my immediate family, but then I realized my extended family, your aunts, your uncles, your aunties, your cousins, everybody needed this message. And, it was, you know what, I'm going to be the change that I want to see, and I want to model that behavior. And so that's why it was important for me knowing how obesity is one of the biggest things when it comes to health and wellness for our community.
Yes, absolutely. I know diabetes runs rampant through the Black community. Heart disease is another one. And, fixing your lifestyle as far as eating and exercising can cure a lot of these things. Some of these things are inevitable if you're predisposed or something like that. But what you're doing for the community could help curb a lot of that.
Yes, and so this is one of the things that our nonprofit, Glamour Girl Fitness, we have a signature program. And that signature program is called a Time Out for Fitness. I started that program with my daughter. She's 8. and we work out together. So it's our mommy and me fitness. And so a lot of times, because I cater to women, we make excuses that we don't have time. You know, a lot of times we're busy with the kids, with the family. And let me just put this out there that it's not just my daughter. If you have a son, you know, some women are saying, well, is it just for women? You know, their daughters. And I said, no, I just happen to have a daughter that I work out with.
Right.
But I also have a son as well. And so we have made it a family thing. My husband and I, we all work out together, but you know how it is. He's that male figure. So him and my husband, they work out. And then my daughter and I, we work out. And then we work out as a family. So we wanted to be able to spread this message to everyone in the community. We make no excuses. And our motto is, we make it fun. So we have what we call fun F words, and it's family, fun, and fitness.
Amen. Amen. Talk to me a little bit about time, because you have a lot of things on your plate as of right now. You're a mom of two, you have a teenager, and then your daughter's in elementary school, right? So that can be a lot. I have a teenage son, and I've gone, of course, through him being in elementary school. So having two kids is one thing. You're a wife, you're a CEO of Glamour Girl Fitness, you have your for-profit business, and you have a full-time job, and you still find time to work out. Tell me a little bit about, you know, people look at that and they'll say, well, I don't have time to work out. How do you find the time? How do you make it important to yourself to do these things during your day?
Well, you know, and like you just said, here's the thing, and people have heard me say this before. We make time for the things that we want to do, all right? And I'll say it again. We make time for the things that we want to do. And the most important thing that you have is your health. It is so important. So just like you plan everything else and you put it into your schedule, why are you putting your health on the back burner? And when you talk about time, it doesn't mean that you have to do this for an hour, meaning exercise or physical fitness and all those kind of things in terms of working out. You can take 15 minutes a day. You can take 20 minutes a day. You get what I'm saying? So you have the time. You know why I know you have the time? Because I guarantee you, almost all of us watch some type of television program, right?
Right.
That's either 30 minutes or an hour. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to give up certain things. But when I say this, let me be clear. You can actually move and exercise and work out while you're sitting watching your favorite program. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can actually move and work out. So there are no excuses. So you actually do have time. We just do not plan it like we do everything else into our schedule.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about doing the things that you want to do, and explaining to myself and to other people that you will always do what you want to do. I'll give an example, and I always ask my son permission before I bring him up in any interview. But I'll use him as an example. So he hasn't gotten his permit yet. And I said, do you want to drive? And he says, yeah. I said, I don't think you want to drive. I think you like the idea of it. And I've been asking him this since he was 15. And I asked him the other day in front of my mom, I think she asked him or something. And he said to her, well, I really just want my permit. And that is profound. He wants to want it. And that's how we do with everything. You want it. You want to be fit, but you don't want to put the work into it, because when you want it, you go after it. That's what you do. You wanted breakfast. You wanted to watch that show. It's evident because that's what you did. But then when you don't work out, you really don't want the physique because you never did anything to go toward it. So I think finding that shift between wanting to want it and actually going after it is very imperative. What would you say to people to try to get that desire into them? Should they just start moving and gain some muscle memory, or is there something they can do to truly desire it?
You know, you packed a lot in there when you talked about that, when you said wanting to want it and actually doing it. And a lot of times what I tell people is one of the things that you have to make sure that you think about and getting motivated and desiring to do it, think about this is your health. Think about how long you want to live, you know? And I know all of these things, we've heard it before, but you said it. If it just means you getting up and starting to move, whatever that is, if it's just starting with the small baby steps of walking. But I promise you, if you plan it, a lot of times with exercise and physical fitness, we don't plan it. You know, you have a schedule for everything else. You put a schedule that I have to do this, I know I have to do that. Why are we not putting on our schedule? I have to take care of myself. I have to work out. If it's just 15, 10, or 20 minutes, whatever it is. If you do that, then it will happen and it will become a part of your everyday life. And so one of the things that I talk about in terms of fitness, I talk about making fitness a priority in our everyday lives. And that is the message that I'm promoting. Like, you have to make that a priority. You know, this is not something I want it. You gotta want it. You know, this is something that I promise you, if you were told that this was going to save your life, you would do it, right? And it has already been proven. And so you got to start with those small steps. And like you said, if it is just moving, but I really honestly believe that you have to plan to do it for those people that are not already doing it. If it's not just something that, you know, like I do it because it's a part of my everyday life. Like I do that on a regular basis. But for those of us that are structured and you need a routine, and you may say that I'm working 9 to 5, and you walk in the house, you're tired or whatever. When you walk in the house, you got to go upstairs, put those sneakers on. If you don't already have them on, already plan to do it. It starts, you know where it starts? It starts in your mind. You got to tell yourself, I'm going to do this because this is so important. I don't care how tired I am. When I feel that way, I start telling myself, I start psyching myself up. You know what? I don't want to work out. I'm so tired. And then I change what I'm saying. And I'm like, you know what? But I'm going to do it because it's for me. And then after you do it, I promise you, you'll feel so much better.
Yes, yes, yes. So how long have you been doing Glamour Girl Fitness itself?
So I've been doing Glamour Girl Fitness now for, let's see, my daughter's 8. So at least for the past about 10 years. I started the nonprofit organization about 2 years ago, but I've been doing Glamour Girl Fitness for the last probably maybe 10 years or so.
Right.
I work in the medical field full time. So I've always been doing lifestyle and weight management. But when I started the business I wanted to go outside of just dealing with my patients, that I wanted to be able to promote this message to my family and friends as well.
So I want to get into, you were already in the medical field for about 10 years at that time. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, I've been in the medical field now for 20 years.
Right.
Yes.
So you're already in the medical field for 10 years. This is what looks like a career and what you will do with the rest of your life. You are still in it. But you could very well just raise your children, take care of your husband and yourself, work out on your own, but you decided to move over and do something else. What sparked you and said that that was the time?
You know, that's a very good question. Growing up as a child, this behavior was not modeled for me. So I always felt that this was something I had to do for myself. When the inkling came to be able to promote this to other people, it was more so, I guess, working in the field. And I'll say, for those of you that don't know, I manage a plastic surgery office. And I've been doing that for the past 20 years. And people would come in thinking that they could just have surgery and that would just be the be all, right? And then they would come back a year later, and these people are now spent all of this money because they didn't put the work in to be able to eat right. We gave them a boost, to change their lifestyle, and now they're spending more money. And then I realized that, you know what? Some things you just have to physically do, and you're wasting your money. And I said, this is something that I was talking to people about, losing weight prior to surgery, how to maintain after surgery. And then it was something, that says all of this is going together. I need to step outside and now make this message, not just to the people that I'm servicing on that daily basis, but to everyone else as well. And that's when it came to me, you know what? Like I said, my friends are asking me about it. And I said, this is a message that I want to be able to promote to the community, because this is a lifestyle. And this is a lifestyle that I want people to understand, that surgery is not going to do it for you. that's just a temporary fix, that you have to want to do it for yourself. And this message doesn't need to just be kept here in this particular area, but I want it to go out to as many people as I can help based on seeing it on both sides.
Yeah, yeah. Let's backtrack just a little bit. You went to college at Clark Atlanta,
That
right?
is correct.
And you got your degree in business administration?
Absolutely.
Right. So when you were graduating college or even in college, what was Jackie's dream then?
Well, my dream at that time was, of course, I always knew I wanted to be in administration. I grew up playing secretary,
Yeah.
playing manager. So I am a manager. And so at that time, my dream was just to be able to work in the field and just be, an administrator, the best manager that I could be at that time. I didn't even think about having a message that was going to affect people in my community. I didn't even think about that because, like you said, I'm just now focusing on, this is my first career job, and your job when you graduate, you think you're going to retire there, and then you probably have 3 before you really figure out what you're going to do. So you're just kind of focused right at that time on just being good at what I do at that time, and I never really even thought about what I'm doing now. And knowing that this is certainly a passion for me, to be able to have a nonprofit organization, to be able to spread a message to help change lives, I just didn't realize that this is something that I would be doing right now.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what you just said, having 3 of these jobs or careers before figuring out what you really want to do. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you realize is that when you're growing or in life, you don't just stay stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
And especially it depends on when you start, right? Mm-hmm. It depends on how old you are. And have you really thought about what you want to do? And then as you mature, I'm a mature woman of age, and I don't shy away from telling people my age. I am 51 years old. And so,
beautiful.
Thank you. And when Glamour Girl Fitness came about, I was 43. I had just given birth to a beautiful baby girl. I went right back down to my size after giving birth to her. And I was like, you know what? I never looked or felt better in my entire life. Wow. And that was a feeling that I was like, it was because I always put health and wellness and physical fitness at the top. And I wanted other women to feel what I felt. Yeah. And now, as you know, that society is changing, and our young girls are actually overweight more so than during my time.
That is true.
Weight wasn't really a thing for us in high school, but now, and we blame it on the food or whatever it is, but we're not promoting that message of health and wellness. And so that's when I realized, you know what? I have this message that can help the younger generation, as well as mature women of age, to stop making excuses, but to put their health and their physical fitness as a priority in their everyday lives. And that was a message I didn't want to keep to myself, because I was like, girl, and one of the other things that I wanted to say, and I always say, Miss Stubbs, that's just how I go, but is that what was so important for me, that when I started that, I said, literally, age is nothing but a number.
Yeah.
And I used to think 40 was old. When my mom was 40, I thought 40 was old.
I did too.
And I had a baby at 43.
Right.
And I felt young. I felt because, and let me tell you something too. People don't understand. I just did a post not long ago about what physical fitness does in terms of your age, your cellular level. It makes you look younger and feel younger when you're actually working out. And you've probably seen this before. People that carry a heavier weight can look older. If they've lost weight, they can take 10 years, or add 10 years on, or take 10 years or put 10 years onto their life. And I'm 43. I gave birth, and I was like, wow, I felt really, really good. No surgery. And it was just like, you know what? This is a message that I want to tell women prior to giving birth to children, that if you start at a young age, and I had always been working out since the age of 20, and I realized at 43, when I bounced back, I said, this is a message that is so important. That behavior was not modeled for me. I'm not keeping this a secret. I'm going to try to help as many people as I can, because I want them to feel good, look good
Mm-hmm.
inside and out, just like I do.
Right, right. Well, you brought up a couple of good things, especially when it comes to age. A lot of people have these ideas wrapped around things they should be accomplishing or things they should be feeling at a certain age. In your 20s, or maybe even in your teens, when you're getting ready for college, you're in your
Mm-hmm.
20s, you're in college, early 30s, you're in the workforce, you may feel like you should know what you have planned for your life, what road you should be headed down. And at 43, you gave birth to your daughter and you were getting ready to start Glamour Girl Fitness, and you completely changed directions from where you
Mm-hmm.
thought you were going to be going. There are men and women of various ages who are thinking of making a change, but they think they're too old to do so. Why do you think that's not true?
Let me tell you something. How I know it's not true, there's so many stories that are out there. I don't know if, and sometimes you feel like what you're working on, like you said, you're too old to start it. You've heard the stories of people that are going back to school in their 80s or 90s, right? Getting their GED, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody I know, especially African American people, know about Colonel Sanders. Do you know how old he was when he started?
Like 40, right?
He was in his 50s.
50s.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure it was 50 because I was like, wow. So, and now look how old and he always looked old to us, right?
Right, right. Because he was older when he started.
Exactly, with the picture that they were portraying. So, like you said, you are never too old, and that business is still here.
Yeah.
And so keep pushing, keep striving. And again, I always go back to one of my, for my young folks that don't know who this lady is, you can look her up. But she is one of my inspirations, Ernestine Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
You can Google her. She is, I think Ernestine is 80 something now, 87, whatever. But she started working out, later in life. And she is a bodybuilder and
Yeah.
she looks amazing, just
Yeah.
amazing. And I believe Ernestine started probably around 60, somewhere along in there. And I should know that. But what I'm saying to you is you're never too old to start doing whatever it is you want to do. And especially for people when they talk about exercise, because this woman is 80 something years old and she is a bodybuilder. I mean,
Yeah.
she is completely fit. And so there are no excuses. We don't have time because it's like what everybody else says, unless there's some physical ailment is the reason why you can't do it,
Mm-hmm.
you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny? Working out and stretching and things like that will relieve some ailments that you have.
Absolutely.
Really will.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, one of the other things I talk about is the best prescription, the best medicine that does not cost you anything for your health is exercise.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many benefits that come along with it. It not only just boosts your mood, it relieves stress, relieves weight. All of those things help prevent almost all of the major diseases out there. And you'd be surprised if you go back and do your research, if you were being healthy, watching what you eat. I talk about an acronym called HEAD, healthy eating every day, and then just exercise. That is the best prescription, the best medicine. And that's the one I'm promoting on making it a priority in our everyday lives.
That's right. That's right. Did you have any fears when you were first starting Glamour Girl Fitness, when you were just taking this next turn in your life?
One of the things was when you talk about that was for it to be a for-profit business. Of course, anytime you're doing something for profit, there are a lot of fears there.
Yes.
Is anybody going to listen to what you have to say? That's one of the fears. And then, are you going to make money from it?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to decide when you're doing this, what outweighs those fears? You doing what you really want to do and trying and knowing that you really tried really hard to get what you're doing off the ground, and then not succeeding, or actually, you've heard the saying, if I can just help one person,
Mm-hmm.
Then it's okay. And then I've done my duty or my job and it makes me feel great. And then you have to look at whether or not, how is it important for you? So there's fear in everything, but there's also one of the things that I have to tell people is nothing happens by staying in your comfort zone.
That's right.
You cannot overcome fear by staying in your comfort zone. You have to step out there. And if you are a believer of faith, if you believe in God, then you step out on faith. And if this was destined for you to do, then what's the fear in doing it? Just go for it. And he will guide your steps along the way, along the path. And all that fear, you know the saying, he did not give us the power of fear, but of what? A sound mind. So you just go after those things regardless, and don't worry about it. Because if you're going to pray about it, then don't worry about it. If you're going to worry about it, then why pray about it? So all of these things are important. As you can see, I'm a woman of faith. So don't let fear cripple you from doing what you want to do. It's going to come, but then you have to talk. It's just like with everything else. It starts in your mind. Let that fear go if this is something that you really want to do and that you're passionate about.
Yeah, yeah. Walk me through something that you were really afraid of when you were first starting, and what your mindset was, your self-talk, your talk to God. What was that like to get out of that fearful place and to continue moving forward?
You know, I always tell people, if you don't have affirmations, I'm a person of affirmations. I think when you are fearful of something, you always have to, my Bible verse is Philippians 4:8. Whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, if there are going to be any virtue, if there are going to be any praise, you know what? I'm going to think on these things. And so you have to find that affirmation, whatever it is that fuels you and gives you life, and talk to it, speak to it, and say, you know what? I'm not afraid. I'm going to do it. I'm going to step out on it. And if it works, it works. But at least I know I've. So for me personally, for those people that kind of walk in fear, it's about having an affirmation and constantly talking to yourself and speaking that when it comes. It's just like when anything hits you, when life hits you, you know, you take your moment, you don't stay there and be like, but you repeat that affirmation, that scripture, whatever that is. And then it's like, okay, you know what? I'm doing it no matter what.
And it also says, not in that verse, but the power of life and death are in the tongue, you know?
Absolutely.
So if you are constantly speaking negative things over your life, that's what you're going to get back. A lot of people believe in the universe and the energy that they put out there. If that's the way you want to look at it, then that works for you too. But speak positive things over your life. And I do it sometimes. I beat myself up. Well, this is not going to work, and I'm not good at that. And I will lie to myself. I am amazing at that. And I am just getting better every day at this thing. And it makes me feel better, one.
Right.
And then it gives me the motivation to keep doing it, because I said that I could. And I believe that I could. And I believe that Christ gave me the power that I could. So I will continue to become better because now I have that belief. So I do think it is very important to speak positivity over yourself and over the things that you're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And do not allow those other words to come into your spirit. Always change. That's why I said Philippians 4:8. Always think on those things. You take your moment, you know, you're not going to stay there. And I know this may take us off topic, but I think it's so important. With COVID-19 here, you know, and I said the other day when I post stuff, I almost felt guilty a little bit on posting something positive and saying, for those of you that don't follow me, and after this is, I would always post, I smile, right? That's how I would start a lot of my posts. And I said, and it goes back to my Bible verse, because this is what's going to make you feel good. It's already negative. It's already doom and gloom. So if we're talking about nothing but doom and gloom, how do you think we're going to feel?
Right.
Doom and gloom. And so I said, you know what? And people may be wondering, why is she happy? And I spoke to a girlfriend the other day, and she said to me, she said, Jackie, no, please post that. She said, I need that. Don't stop doing it. We need that, because if I don't see that, then I will stay doom and gloom. But by seeing your lively post, it helps me not to stay there. And that's the thing why, you know, with COVID-19 and going back to our topic today for fitness, obesity is one of the things that is an underlying condition that we don't talk about in our community. I know because I'm in the medical field. And they'll say people that have contracted this disease and may suffer from it is because they've had underlying health conditions. And one of them was obesity. They didn't have anything else, but I knew it was obesity because you have to think about it. It attacks your lungs. If you're overweight, it's hard to breathe. those kind of things. And so this message right now for me and for people, I was saying if they got, quote unquote, gain the Corona 15, I was like, now more than ever, it is so important for you to put your health first. You know, again, it doesn't cost you anything. Gyms are closed. You can move right in your chair. Yeah. I call them my commercial workouts. You can stand up doing every commercial break and just jog or run in place. We were talking about that early. How do you get started if you're already sitting down? You know what? Talking to yourself. It starts in your mind.
Yes.
I heard that lady the other day, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to start moving, doing this whole hour program or doing every commercial break. You're going to get up, vice versa. And then you kind of build up your heart rate, and it starts to become a habit and a routine of something that you're going to do. So, you know, it's so important. And that's why I wanted, when you were talking about that, positive thoughts, positive words, those are so important for motivation to do absolutely anything, especially when fear sets in. You have to do that. It is so important.
Yes, yes. I think a lot of people get into the mindset that they can't, or it's not for them. They may look at, you know, you being 51 years old and so fit. They're like, oh, well, I could never. I couldn't do what she's doing. But I've always I've always asked the questions, why not me? You know, why couldn't I? You know, if this person can go to the moon, why can't I go to the moon? There's nothing different. There's a poem, and I wish I knew it by heart. What is the name of it? It's saying basically, men always, equipment. That's the name of the poem. Equipment. So it's saying that the man that's rich has 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet, and there's a poor boy and he has 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet. There's no difference between them. They have the same equipment and they can do the same things, you know. So people that may look at you and say you're so fit and you've been doing it for so long, that's why. They'll explain it away. Oh, well, that's why she's so fit. But they can too. I can too, you know. So I love that you're that example for everybody.
Yeah, so I have a girlfriend that I went to high school with. And so, you know, thank God for Facebook, right? So you can keep in touch with those people you haven't seen in many, many years. And so she saw my message when I was doing, you know, promoting Glamour Girl Fitness and what I was doing. And she DM'd me. So she direct messaged and she says, you know what, Jackie? She said, I looked at you and I saw what you were doing. And she says, I realized that you weren't doing anything that I couldn't do.
That's right.
Because of what you just said. And I always preface this with, unless there's some health reason as to why you cannot exercise or work out,
correct,
then there is no reason why you can't do what I'm doing. There is an excuse, but there's no reason. There's an excuse, but there's no reason. And she said, I realized she wasn't doing anything that I couldn't do. She was jumping up and down, exercising, putting the time in. I just wasn't doing it. She said, and if she can do it, we're the same age. She says, then I know I can do it too. She said, thank you for motivating me and inspiring me. Because there are a lot of people that do what I do. And like you said, in terms of our message, and there's so many people, we know it all the time. We hear this message. And then, you know, you mentioned something I'm going to go back to about the fear. And I'm wondering, well, will anybody listen to me? I know you've heard that too, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have people that are doing what you do, but they're not you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's your message. It's your calling, what God has put on your life. And the way I may resonate with somebody that may be watching today, they've heard the same message. I'm not speaking anything about health, wellness, physical fitness that you have not heard before.
Right.
But it's because of the way I said it, because the way I deliver it. She said, I was able to resonate with you because guess what? I went to school with her. We started out at the same weight, age, whatever. And it's like, okay. And she's been able to do this, like you said. Now she's 50. Why can't I do it? I can. I just have to do what? Do it.
That's it.
So you can do it. There are no excuses. There are reasons that you make up, but there are no excuses.
Yeah. I love that you spoke about calling and purpose over your life. When I was looking for my purpose, I really wanted to know what my purpose was. And I wanted it to be glamorous. I wanted it to be something that would help me to do a lot of things and make me rich and make me wealthy. Right. It is funny once you figure out what a purpose is. So once I learned what a purpose was and that my purpose was not for me, that it was for the rest of the world, I didn't want one anymore. I was like, yeah, God, no. I dismissed it. I said, no, thank you. Set me up with the purpose down the line. But of course, I went back to finding my purpose, discovering it and living in it. So I'm listening to you speak about your friend and how once you started living in your purpose, she was able to benefit from it. And that's the essence of a purpose. You know, you live in your truth, you walk in it, and then you help others to discover themselves. And I say regularly that the world is waiting on you to use your gifts. It's not for you. The world is waiting.
Absolutely. Wow. And that resonated with me too, because you're absolutely correct. And that's when I kept saying, you know what, I'm going to continue to do this. Regardless if I make money from it or not, because there are people out there that are wanting to hear it, that need to hear, and that I'm motivating and inspiring. And that made me feel so good. And I said, thank you for sharing that with me. That allows me to know that I am making a difference. And if I'm only just reaching 1, 2, or 3, then I fulfilled my purpose for me and for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of what we do as women is we judge each other based off of age. And we definitely put limits on ourselves and other women based on how old they are. And when you're looking about at having children, you may think of it as something to do in your 20s or do in your 30s. And you, to me, it seems you are constantly just swiping those away and saying, no, I can do whatever I want at whatever age, and you're not old. It's just the societal idea of what you should be doing at what age. And you also just got Mrs. Georgia Earth 2019. A lot of people, I would have even thought something to do in your 20s, your teens, when you're a child. I just never considered it because I'm not of that world. I don't know that.
Right.
But you just won. How did you even get into that? And what did winning feel like?
You know, so here's the story for that. Like you were saying, nothing is really always accomplished that's, you know, you could say in your comfort zone, right?
Right.
So I'm in my 40s and I'm saying, you know, when I did my first pageant before I won the title of Ms. Georgia Earth, 2019. I did my very first pageant at the age of 49, right? Mm-hmm. What was I thinking? And I had a little girl, right, that I'm raising. And we always find out, you know, another thing that I use, I always say, find what fuels you and gives you life. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's the end. I have a birthday at the end of the year, December 31st. And, you know, you start thinking about what you're going to do and New Year's, your resolution, all these different things that you're going to do different, whatever. And I said to myself, I told my husband, we were riding in the car, and I said, so someone approached me because I'm like you. I didn't feel like pageants were something that you could do at that age, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to put my daughter into pageants to help, you know, develop her personality, you know, because I heard that's what pageants do and help with confidence. Mm-hmm. And so then I realized, and researching the pageants, they had pageants for married women. And there were certain pageants and researching them that if you have a platform, you can be able to promote your message. I'd be able to reach more people. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I started researching a little bit more. And then I said, you know, I told my husband, I said, I never really thought about a pageant. Somebody approached me on it. And I said, you know what? Because I'm looking into it for my daughter. They said, you should do a pageant. I'm not a pageant girl. That ain't me. You know, I might. Glamour Girl Fitness, you might think the name, I'm prissy, whatever, but pageants are not for me. But I said, you know, I had that epiphany. I said, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone. And I started talking to myself. I was like, I could do that. Yeah, I really could do that. And I just got in my head one day. My husband looked at me. He said, I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. And he was like, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. And so it just kind of resonated in my spirit. And I told my daughter, you have to believe in yourself. And I just stepped out of my comfort zone and did something I thought I would never do. And even though that year I did not win the title or the crown, but let me tell you something. The very first time that I stepped out of my comfort zone and did, you would have thought I won before they even crowned me. That was my very first pageant experience. Right. And I said, you know what? I am going to do it. And even though I didn't win the title or the crown, but I really won the victory. And that was the best experience ever for me.
Yeah.
And then I went to, compete again into my second pageant to promote my message is the reason why I continued with it. But it really started with that very first one at 49. And I said that I know I can do it. And that was the best one ever. Not the last one. I don't even wear that crown. That I didn't need it.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, you win when you step out being your best self. And that was the best feeling right there.
That's right. I say to my son, and what you're saying right now really resonates. I say to my son a lot that opportunity meets the well-prepared. Or how I normally say it is, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Oh, so, now I say that about fitness all the time.
Okay.
All the time. When you step out, if you stay ready, you just spoke something to me right there.
That's it. And so I'm listening to your story. You had already been doing the work with Glamour Girl Fitness. You already had the platform. You had already been doing the work on yourself physically, working out, eating right, things like that. If you weren't ready, you would have to get ready for this pageant. You were already ready. You already, even if you didn't feel like that when you first walked in the door.
Girl, you better speak it right there. Because here's the thing: if you know anything about pageants, and I have pictures on my page, I was competing with women because all you have to do is be married. So some women are married at 25, some of them are married at 21, 20. So I was the oldest one in that pageant. And I told my husband, I said, let me tell you something. I said, these little girls, and they couldn't believe how old I was. And, I don't have a problem telling my age. I said, but when I walked out there and I knew what your body had to look like to be on stage with these women, and I was competing with 25-year-olds, and my son gave me the best compliments. He was like, Mom, he's like, you were doing your thing. And my second pageant, the one that I won the title for, Mrs. Georgia Earth, I won the fitness award. I won the public speaking award and won the title. And that was the best compliment for me because I was on the stage with these 25-year-old young women. And here I am winning the fitness award. And so it was one of the best things ever, besides, again, the crown, knowing that I had already put the work in and they were able to recognize, the judges were able to see. They said, well, she's 25. She's supposed to look like that.
Right.
She's 50 and she looks like that. Right. And so it was one of the best awards that I had ever received during that pageant experience.
Oh, yeah. And it's just a testament to staying ready. You stay ready. There are certain things in our lives that we know we should be doing, whether that's exercising or making sure that the bills are paid. You should pay it on the 1st, but the 10th is the last day. And so you pay it on the 10th. But if you just do the things you should do on a regular basis, there's going to come a time where it's needed, where you have to do it and it's crunch time. And if you already had it laid out, you just got to walk in it then.
Yeah.
You are already set. And I think, I hope other people see that if they just do the things they know they should, you don't know where it's going to lead you. You didn't know you were going to be in a pageant, but you were ready.
Exactly. I know, right? It's like, okay, wow.
Yes, ma'am.
I did not know. And like I said, that is one of the things that you were talking about, what fitness allowed me to be able to do, and be able to, have this message that I can share and be able to inspire and motivate other women and young girls with my message, with Glamour Girl Fitness, and letting them know how important it is, like you were saying. And I love that. I'm gonna have to steal that and start using it again, being ready, staying ready, so it won't have to take a lot of work to be able to, when you have to step out, that you can step out and not have to work as hard and put so much work in if you're already ready, and then kind of honing and working on towards your goal or whatever it is, and that it will bring you to in life. And so, I of course, like you said, no, unless you study pageants, you don't really know, for somebody that's not been into it, that's something that I would be doing or even thought I would be doing at the age of 49 or 50.
Right.
And so this is something that I can share with other young women and girls, to know that there's a lot of things that health and wellness does in their life, depending on what it is that they want to do.
Right. What is it in you that tells you that you can do certain things, that you can be in a pageant, that you can start a business, that you can start a nonprofit, that you can be a manager, that you can graduate college? What is it in you that says, I can do it?
You know, I've always been a positive person by nature. And I think just having that positive attitude, no matter what, and like I said, growing up as a child, you know, having that Bible verse, Philippians 4:8.
Mm-hmm.
I had an uncle, God rest his soul, he has passed away. And that was one of his favorite Bible verses. He always had what we call a Kool-Aid smile, you know,
Yeah.
the Kool-Aid, the one on the I can't even think of the little jug, the
Yeah.
little
The
Kool-Aid man.
Kool-Aid
And
man. Yeah.
yes, and he's that big smile.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always remember to think positive,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that is so important, as we're growing up, as you know, especially starting for our children.
Mm-hmm.
That is important. Like you said, life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
To speak positive, to think positive. And I think that is one of the things that was allowed me to be able to say that with the pageant. Because girl, you couldn't have told me I wasn't gonna win that pageant. And then let me tell you something, when I got there, it was so amazing because I looked around the room and like, everybody else thought the same thing too. And I worked so hard in preparing and, you know, walking, because of course you got to practice to walk.
Right.
The body, you know, part I have to work so hard for
Mm-hmm.
as much, but I have to now walk because I've never practiced that before.
Right.
And I literally went in there believing that I could win, believing that I could win. I promise you I did. And then realized that I'm really competing with other women that have been doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when you were saying that is belief. You have to really, really believe. However that win may turn out, because you're still going to win. The crown, that was just a cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
But by believing that I could win, starting at a young age, believing that whatever it is that I set my mind to, that I could really, really do it and really believe it, regardless of however it turned out, you win by going out there, stepping out of that comfort zone, regardless of whatever that prize may be. You know, there's only one crown a lot of times in any type of competition. You know, everybody wants to do that. But I tell people you win by stepping out of your comfort zone, by believing that you can do it. And then when you do it, you realize that you won.
Yes.
So it is being positive. And I think the mindset of positivity, speaking these things, weight loss, whatever it may be in your life, it starts in your mind. And if you start talking to yourself and telling yourself that you can do it, that's where it started for me. And I believe that everything that I've accomplished in my life, regardless of what it is, and like you said, I may not be at the best at this, that, or the other, but I'll always believe that I could, and I did.
There we go. I have a question for you. Let's go back to what we talked about a little bit earlier about having jobs number 1, 2, and 3 before really realizing what you want to do. For me, I can see how everything I've done in my life from birth to now just makes sense for where I am currently. Would you say the same is true for you? You can see how all of that makes sense now?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I do. Because like you said, for physical fitness, for me, and doing Glamour Girl Fitness, one of the things that I know that has happened for me is I always worked out at the age of 20. I went to college, right? And I came from a family that was overweight. And I always said that I wasn't going to be my aunties or my aunts. And I love my family. Excuse me, don't get me wrong. But I always said that I'm not going to be, you know, my environment. I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see in my environment. And I knew that if I ate like them and if I didn't work out or exercise when I went off to college, that I would gain weight.
Yes.
And it was true. Because I started to do that. You know, as you get older, your metabolism slows down, and I'm at the age of 20. And so I'm going to college and I'm working out and I'm exercising, right? And then, like you were saying, and I continue to do that 20s, 30s. And I didn't start, you know, Glamour Girl Fitness until my 40s or whatever. And I realized when people would ask me, what are you doing and how did you do it? And I'm like, but I've always been working out since the age of 20. Right. I've always been preparing. And that message, and I'm going to just throw it out there right now. I have very flat abs. I've given the birth to 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people would think, because I work in the plastic surgery field, that I've had surgery, right?
Uh-huh.
But let me tell you something. And I literally thought, like, stars, whatever. I was like, ain't no way in the world that lady went back, and had it. How I know it was true when it happened for me.
Right.
Muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
If I did no other workout, if I did no other exercise, I always did my abs workout. And I would always do this ab workout. And I literally just put out not long ago my 6-minute abs formula, my secret formula. I just recorded a video doing that. And it was being prepared, like you're saying, where I'm at now.
Right.
And that's just to give you a backdrop of that story. But because from the age of 20,
mm-hmm.
if I did no other workout, I would always do that 7-minute abs video.
Right.
And I did it every single day.
Right.
For 7 days a week. And my flat abs worked for me after giving birth to both of my children. I went right back down to my size.
That's right. That's right. Well, my question for that is, so let's say that we can look at your different journeys as jobs until you finally found Glamour Girl Fitness. You know that job number 2 was important now. It didn't feel important when you were doing it, but you know it now that it was important. Just like I know job number 2 is important now. But for the person that's in job number 2, career number 2, and they don't even see career number 3 coming, and they don't even see the ultimate purpose coming, what could you say to how they're feeling now? They know it's not right, it's not the fit, but it is a part of the journey. But what would you say to that person to continue to encourage them to keep going?
Well, here's the thing. And you're saying you're in this job number 2, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're doing, wherever you are right now, just know that, and it doesn't matter how old you are, where you're at, know that every journey that you're on is preparing you for whatever it is you need to be doing later, now, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just rest in it and knowing that even if it's a lesson learned, sometimes you wonder, like, why did you take me on this journey? I don't know. But it is, you've heard the saying before, if it doesn't break you, make you, it will build you, make you stronger. So just know that even if it's something that you feel like you don't even like, or it's not something that you feel and be like, you know what, God, this is something that is preparing me for what you have next, if it's not where you feel you need to be.
Right.
So don't get complacent. Don't feel like this is not where I need to be. Just know that everything that you're doing, because I can say that the mature age that I am now, know that it is preparing you for what it is that you're wanting to do, for that higher purpose, for that calling. And just realize, you know what? There is a lesson in this, even if I feel like I'm not where I need to be at this present time.
Yep, absolutely. I've checked the log in my own life and God hasn't made a mistake yet. So we're just going to keep rolling with that. Yes, ma'am.
Amen. And it's hard sometimes. It's really hard. And, books have been birthed from these things, and all the places that we've gone and all the things that have happened to us, good, bad, and indifferent. And then you just realize that, you know what, I'm going to embrace whatever it is. Yeah. And I go back to the positivity. You can always find a positive in every negative situation. Absolutely. Even in COVID-19. Yes. If it was nothing but to make us be still.
I think that's it. I really feel like stillness is a big part of COVID-19.
It is. Because we were running so much, going to soccer, going to basketball, going to dance, going to wherever. And we were so tired. Now, we've been still for a moment, but in this stillness now, for those of us that have now got the Corona 15, it's time for you to get up and move. You've been still long enough. Now it's time for you to make a plan. It's time for you to come out. You've been still. So in that negative situation, God allowed us to be still. And now we have to realize, okay, I've been still. And so that when we come out on the other side, that we remember to be able to take a moment, because you've had your break. Yep. You've had this break, but I don't want you to wallow in self-pity and depression. Be able to say, what can I do that I would not have had time to do had I not been able to be still.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what we need to do in order to move forward. And I said, you know what? It allowed us to spend more family time together. Some people realize they love or didn't love their family. We're going to pray for y'all.
Right.
But it was supposed to be able, because we were going in so many different directions, if you had a family, to be able to take that time. And if you feel like you're not loving your family right now, stop and love your family. Stop and realize that you needed to be able to be there with them so that we can get closer together and that we're not just in our devices, so that we can be healthy together. So try to do things that we can do. So in this moment, be still, realize it's time to come out. It's time to get up. It's time to start moving. You've had your moment of stillness, and let's remember to be positive and find the positive in every negative situation. Because I guarantee you, there is one in every one of them.
Oh, yeah. I personally look at COVID-19, and this does not diminish, the tragedies that have come of it.
Absolutely.
But there are definitely some blessings in it. I look at this situation as a cocoon and butterfly moment. You're going to have a lot of butterflies at the end of this pandemic. And I don't know if you or anybody watching has ever really looked at the process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. We all know that it goes into a cocoon, but did you know on the inside of that cocoon, it is nasty, slimy reorganization of this being before it becomes this beautiful butterfly. It is disgusting in there. And the cocoon phase, we like to look at it as just this smooth outer layer and, it's just becoming a butterfly. No, it's hard work. It's gross. And it's a lot like life. Once you reach that cocoon phase, it's going to be ugly. You're going to have to put in those works. If you're put in that work, if you're working out, you're going to be sweating. You're going to have those ugly faces. You're going to be making some weird sounds.
Well, I have my hat on my head, girl. Right. Sweating out.
Listen, but that is your cocoon process.
Yeah.
Because then we could be like Miss Jackie Madison and bloom as a butterfly as Miss Georgia Earth 2019 or in any other, circumstance. But I don't want anybody to miss the blessing in the trouble. Miss the blessing and how murky and ugly it is, because one thing that is consistent is inconsistency. Change is inevitable. So all the hard times that we're going through, it can't stay that way. Nothing stays that way. So we'll get through it and we'll move on. And I'm excited to see what it looks like. I'm excited to see all the brand new people I never heard of be big and great.
Absolutely, like you said, and it has allowed me to be able to work on goals for my business, because like you were just saying before, I don't know that I would have had the time to actually produce a abs video, an abs formula video. Yeah, I've done a video with my daughter more, and so being able to take the time to do that, things have not slowed us down some. And so you're right. And let me just, like you just said, I have my moment. So people, I'm smiling, and people just think, like you said, that we don't have problems. We don't have to say all this. We all do. We're human. That's a part of life. Oh yeah. COVID, it hit me too. But what I said before to you and to everyone else that is watching, we take our moment, but we don't stay there. Amen. And I always say this to anybody that's watching. If you plan to live, if you plan to be here, why do you want to be living in gloom and doom? It does nothing but bring you down. And you've heard the saying that stress can kill you faster than anything else. Yeah. And I said to myself, and I say to my girlfriends and everyone else, if I plan to be here, as long as I'm here, I want to live. I'm going to live, because I want to live to be 100. So this too, we've heard this before, shall pass. Yeah. And if you're living through it, and if you're going through it, take your moment, don't stay there, and remember to find the positive in every negative situation. That's right. And I promise you, like you said, you're going to come out on the other side when you come out, because we're going to come out and we're going to go through it and stay in it. We're going to come out of it. And when you do, you want to come out of it better, not bitter, but better. Yeah, yeah. Well, Miss Jackie, tell me, what is next for Glamour Girl Fitness and for you in general? Well, what's next is during this time frame when we come out, we want to see our nonprofit grow more. We weren't able to have our Time Out, our annual community event, Time Out for Fitness event, where we bring out people in the community to just take a day to just put health, wellness, and physical fitness. And I promote all forms of physical activity. But what's next for us is we want to be able to give scholarships. That is our goal, to be able to give scholarships, to be able to give back to our community for young girls that are wanting to that are wanting to major in health and wellness and physical fitness, because we want this message to not just stop with myself. My daughter, that's 8, she is the vice president of Glamour Girl Fitness. And I want this message to be able to be a legacy that we promote in our family, not just with us, but in our community and beyond, so that we can leave a generation, a legacy of promoting health and wellness in our community. So that is my goal, to see Glamour Girl Fitness, on a bigger scale, on a level, and being able to give back and help mentor other young girls and women to be able to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Where can people find you so they can start getting their workout on?
So you can follow me on IG. We are at Get Fit Glamour Girl Style. I am on Facebook, personal Facebook, under Jackie Madison, but our Facebook page is Glamour Girl Fitness .org is our website, rather. And then there is Glamour Girl, Get Fit Glamour Girl Style on Facebook. But you can follow us on IG as well as on our website. And we hope that when we open back up, then you'll be able to see us out in the community more, spreading this message of health and wellness. But right now, we're doing it virtually as much as possible and on the social media handles.
Awesome. Awesome. And last question, Mrs. Madison, is there a quote that you live by?
Yeah, that quote, of course, is, my little motto is be happy, feel sexy, and look great.
That's it. That's it. Well, viewers, I hope you have gotten a lot out of this. Mrs. Madison is truly inspirational. Please follow her. If you're looking to start working out or continue working out, I'm sure she has methods that are tried and true that can work for you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and continue watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Mrs. Madison.
Thank you, beautiful, for having me.
You're very welcome. Bye.
I guess one of the biggest motivators for me is that I am so blessed, and I just get reminded of that all the time. I started a business from, 2 raggedy speakers and and about a 15-year-old, DJ mixer. And, now I have, I'm sitting here looking at, thousands of dollars of equipment, and I try not to take the credit for what I haven't done. I think God has just been extremely good to me. I know he has. And I try to always keep that in the forefront of my mind. And I think if people will come into things with a spirit of thankfulness, and I definitely am not an expert on it. I have a hard time with it as well, all the time. But if you'll come into things with a spirit of gratefulness, and man, I'm just blessed, even if there are things going wrong, you always have multiple things to be thankful for. And I just think that with me, I look back on my life and I just see so many, I'm trying to think of passes maybe, or, just blessings. And so I think, it's mine. I was blessed that way to be able to turn around and bless someone else, and we don't always listen to that voice that says, hey, bless that person or be a blessing to them, whatever you can do to help, do that. But the more often we listen to that voice, it's just so beneficial to, it just helps you grow as a person, and being a blessing to other people. I think that's just a lot about what life is all about.